In the Our State and Region inquiry, students learn about the first peoples in their state and key historical events. They explore diverse historical sources, learning to ask critical questions, and recognize different perspectives about their state and region. Before we dig in, remember that an inquiry begins with a launch module, just 2 lessons, moves through a series of investigation modules with about 3 to 5 lessons in each one, and ends in an action module where students use their learning to create and share an inquiry product. The Our State and Region inquiry launches with the hook lesson, Examining Our State Timeline. In this lesson, students examine 2 different timelines that describe the history of their state and region, then discuss how the differences between these timelines show the strengths and limitations of sources and how perspectives shape them. At the end of the lesson, students are introduced to the inquiry question that will guide their exploration. How can we help tell the story of our state? In the next lesson of the launch, students use the question formulation technique to create their own questions to explore. These questions get recorded on an anchor chart, so they can be revisited and revised throughout an inquiry. Remember, at the beginning, students might not have many questions, since they are just getting started with their exploration. During the first few lessons, the class will also start its vocab wall and begin an inquiry-long display, the Our State Inquiry Wall, which will grow throughout the inquiry as students learn about the events and people that shape their state's history. After the launch module, students move through a series of investigation modules, each organized around an essential need-to-know question. How do connections to the land shape ways of life? How did this place become the state that we know? How is the struggle for freedom part of our story? What can we learn when we ask critical questions about historical sources? Let's look at a few highlights from each module. In Module 2, students begin with a concept connection circle to explore key concepts and ideas, then explore diverse sources like maps, texts, and photographs to understand how early Indigenous peoples connected to the land. In Module 3, students engage in an interactive web experience, gathering evidence to create their own timeline of events, including exploration, colonization, cooperation, and conflict that shape their state as new people arrive from outside the U.S. In Module 4, students analyze the preamble to the Declaration of Independence and other primary source documents, engage in a gallery walk, and analyze historical documents and images to explore the changing rights and freedoms in the early history of the U.S. In Module 5, students examine how a historical source's content is shaped by a creator's perspective, analyze different memorials, and construct an argument on evaluating historical sources. They then create an inquiry challenge statement to outline a challenge or opportunity for their inquiry product. After Module 5, it's time for students to take action and choose an inquiry product that will impact the community beyond the classroom. There are several options to choose from, and suggestions of possible products. For example, students could create a school-wide display to teach the community about key events and people within their state history, or build dioramas to teach a buddy class about the first people to live in their state and how they adapted to the land. And you can always check out the Inquiry Work Gallery for more inspiration. These examples come from InquireEd's partners across the country and around the world. No matter the product, Module 6, the action module, will guide students through the design process step by step. And that's a quick overview of the Our State and Region inquiry. Don't forget to submit samples of student work and photos of your students in action to the Inquiry Work Gallery. Good luck on your inquiry journey.